Hello and welcome. This is Nancy, and I'm coming to you live from South Bend, Indiana, with my Seeking Truth Always live video podcast. It is Friday evening, the 7th of August in the year of our Lord 2026, and I'm getting to you just a few minutes late tonight. I had a few little faux pas with a website I want to go over with you guys tonight. And sometimes it can be tricky, and it was being tricky, so I needed to work out those little trickinesses before I went live, so I didn't have to put you guys through the problem solving phase of that website. So anyway, my apologies for being just a little bit late. If you're coming on here live, you know that I'm usually here a few minutes earlier than this. I try to be on at 9, but it always doesn't work out that way. 9 Eastern time, that is, because here in Indiana, that's the time zone we're in. Not all of Indiana, though. If you go to northwest Indiana, which is like an hour outside of Chicago, which is Central Time, that part of Indiana is in their time zone. And there's, I think, a few other parts of Indiana, possibly, but I don't get around to those too often. So I'm not too familiar, but I think there's a couple others maybe. But I know Northwest Indiana, like where Gary, Indiana would be, Crown Point, Indiana, even LaPorte, 45 minutes from South Bend, LaPorte, Indiana, is on Central Time. It's pretty crazy. So President Trump has signed off on that, though. As everything else, it's up to the Senate. The Senate doesn't seem to be too cooperative. The rhinos in the Senate are not too cooperative to anything President Trump wants. But I'm hopeful. I've never liked switching clocks. Never liked switching clocks, switching the time twice a year. It's just ridiculous, in my opinion. Humble as it may be. And President Trump has, basically said, or did say, I don't know if it was in an executive order or if it was a Truth Social, post. Well, one way or the other. I think it was a Truth Social post, actually. But he said, yep, let's do it. And he gave lots of reasons why to do it. In fact, that makes me think maybe I might even pull that up and read that to you guys, because I reposted it in my True Social account when he posted it, and I don't think it's too far back. So I'm just looking really quick to see. Yeah, there it is right there. Woohoo! How about that? All right, let me see if I can. Yeah, all right. Let me read this to you. Since we're just getting started, why not? Some of you are coming on while I'm getting started. I'm going to get started right away because I came on a little bit late. So I'm getting started right now. I'm going to read you this post from President Trump. He posted this on August 4th. So today is the 7th. So 3 days ago. He said, for many years, the vast majority of Americans have asked to make daylight savings time permanent. But no administration has been able to get it done until now. I am proud to announce that the House of Representatives has passed the bill, and it now has to go to the Senate for final approval. People are sick and tired of having to change their clocks twice a year. It is foolish, inconvenient, and in some cases, very costly. For cities and states with watchtowers and hard-to-reach places, it costs millions of dollars. A recent case was made that it is also bad for your health and the anxiety that it creates. Leading medical, crime, and economic studies have shown that ceasing the biannual time change, giving us 1 extra hour of natural sunlight in the evenings, will help decrease robbery and murder rates, reduce car accidents, especially those involving pedestrians, lower the risk for cardiac issues and stroke and seasonal depression, and make it safer for children to walk home from school. Increase time with your family. Strongly support extracurricular activities. Boost the sports, fitness, tourism, retail, and restaurant industries, and more. If, like, that's not enough, right? And it'll save money on energy bills, because everyone will be enjoying an extra hour of daylight. That's a biggie. In other words, leave it as it is now and never change again. In other words, what time it is right now, which is about 9:19 p.m. Eastern Time in South Bend, Indiana. For the rest of my life in South Bend, Indiana, if that's where I'm at, then it'll always be at this time when I'm looking out the window and how dark it is or light it is and so forth. It'll always be. We'll never have to fall back an hour or spring forward an hour. Someone came up with that. People that want to keep it, clearly. Okay. All right. This is an issue that Republicans, Democrats, and Independents can unite behind. I like his positive attitude. I am asking Republican senators to release their holds and allow the hotline to clear on the Republican side. Let's pass the Sunshine Protection Act. That's a good name for it, right? The Sunshine Protection Act. I like that. ASAP. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Well, I'm all for it. I've always been for it. I've always hated that. And I really, it's irritated me my whole life when someone will say, like, I mean, it's an hour difference, and I get that. You lose an hour of sleep when you're, once a year, when you're putting the clock forward, springing forward. But how many times do we lose an hour's sleep, really? Come on. How many times do we go to bed an hour later? You know, we may not want to, but life happens and we do. Maybe we choose to because we went to a ball game, or we went to a concert, or we went to a friend's house, or whatever the case may be. We choose to lose that hour. But when the time changes, people will say, oh, I'm so tired. I lost an hour of sleep last night. Or I've just got to go to bed an hour earlier because I don't want to lose that hour of sleep. Well, I'm sorry, but every one of those excuses, there's a time or times in their lives that they have chosen to lose an hour of sleep, in my opinion. And on those days when they choose to lose that hour of sleep, they don't say, well, I better go to bed an hour earlier and leave the concert an hour early. No, they never say that. Or leave the football game an hour early. No, they never say that. Okay, so you can tell I get fired up about the subject. It's been stupid my entire life, and the excuses people use as a result of it, I think are, in my opinion, are excuses, and are stupid excuses because they, in their own lives, choose many times to lose that hour of sleep, and they don't whine about it when they choose to do it. Okay, enough on that, but I would be happy, very happy, the Senate will get their stuff together and pass this thing. Now, I know people are passionate one way or the other, and some of you watching may be passionate, and maybe people I just talked about, but I'm not, nothing personal. It's just my opinion. Well, it is personal to me because it's an opinion of mine, but I mean, not personal against you or anything like that. So, you know, I know people are passionate about this just as I am, you know, for everyone's own reasons. But I hope, my podcast, I can tell you what I hope. I hope that they pass this thing and we're done with it, and we'll never have to spring forward or fall back again. That'd be great. Okay. Well, I just got off to a booming start, didn't I? So tonight we are going to get to part 11 of the sequel to The Fall of the Cabal. And that's why I have to get going right away, because I came on late. And so I will still say hi to everybody, because I can't ever leave that out. I love you guys, and I love it when you're here. And it's just like helps me, because I'm looking at me. And when I'm looking at me and I see your comments, I know I'm not alone. I know lots of you watch on Rumble when I upload it, and more are watching on YouTube when I upload it. I used to have like maybe 3 views or 4 views on my podcast, because I only went there like 3 or 4 months ago. But now it's like, I mean, I'm not like setting records, but it's tough over in YouTube world. But yeah, like my last video that got up, I think to I mean, it might be more, but when I looked at it last, it was 30 some views, and that's a lot for my little channel at YouTube. So all that to say, if you can subscribe over there, that'd be great. There's a link in this video. It would really help a lot, because the more people that subscribe, the more they get pushed out. It's not a money thing for me. I would make probably 3 cents, in a month if I were being monetized. It's not about money, trust me. It's about waking people up and getting the word out. And there's a lot of sleepies over in YouTube. So if you're watching from YouTube, I know you're not one of the sleepies. And if you are one of the sleepies, you're probably going to leave a mean comment, because I get a lot of those over there too. Yeah, people aren't as nice over there, because there's more people that disagree vehemently with the things I talk about, and they're not afraid to say it. Oh, golly. So I started a new pattern over there. If you're mean to me, I delete your comment. It's that simple. I've always commented, even on the mean to me comments. Because people in Rumble were never near as mean. But over in YouTube, there have been some meanies. Like really nasty meanies. So I do delete those. So if you're going to be nasty and mean, I'm going to delete you anyway. So don't leave a nasty, mean comment. If you want to disagree with me, that's fine. I'm all in on that. Anyone can disagree. And I'm just glad you watched it enough to know that you have something to disagree with. Because unbeknownst to you, there's some seeds that have been planted. So that's what I'm here. I'm a seed planter. And you don't have to agree with me. But regardless, if you listen to me, there were some seeds. Can you feel the videos being turned off right now? No, I don't want seeds planted. I don't like your seeds. Well, just don't leave a mean comment, okay? But I can't help the seeds, like you got a brain just like me, like we all have brains, and seeds get planted. No matter what, if you go watch a movie somewhere, something from that movie, seeds are planted in there, If you have a conversation in the line in the grocery store, someone might say something where a seed is planted about something, like, oh, I just saw a movie last night. It was such and such. Have you seen it yet? And you'd go, no, I haven't seen it yet. Well, it's really a good movie. Well, that's a seed planted about that movie, All right, enough about seeds. Anyway, if you'll subscribe to my YouTube channel, I would be very grateful. And it's free. They call it subscribing over there. In Rumble, it's called following, if you follow. But either way, they push the videos way out better. The more people that subscribe or follow, the more people that like, thumbs up, the video. I don't know what they do if you do thumbs down. I'd rather not find out. I've never had a thumbs down. Now, that doesn't mean someone out there needs to test this. You do not need to test it. It's probably not a good thing. It probably really goes against, like, getting the videos put out there, So, no, don't test it. But I've never had a thumbs down. Well, I've had some nasty comments. If you're one of them, stop doing it. It's mean. In this world, it's free to be nice. There's not much else free. There's never been much else free, but being nice is free. We can all do it. It doesn't cost us a nickel or even a penny. They don't even give pennies anymore half the time, if you notice that. You have 4 cents coming back, they give you a nickel. If you have 1 cent coming back, they give you a nickel. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, we're going to talk sequel to The Fall of the Cabal. And we are on part 11 of 28. And we will get to that tonight. I am determined. We couldn't get to it last time. Or the time before, I don't think. So we're going to do 11, part 11. But if we don't, we always have time because I'm always back. And I've been with you guys for over 5 years. And I'm not going anywhere. I didn't think the Lord would keep me doing this long. But there was definitely a reason. A good reason, because you're still here and I'm still here. And the most commonly heard comment I hear now, or get written to me in a message, or a comment, or a personal message, or a text, or whatever, is, I want this movie to be over. We all want this movie to be over. But I'm going to give you a little seed. I'm going to plant a seed here. If the movie's not over, it's because God's timing is not such that it's time to be over. And that's probably because there's still more work to be done. What kind of work, Nancy? You might be asking. To eradicate the evil. That's a pretty big job. To eradicate the evil. In the world. Like everywhere. Not just for us. Not just for us. In fact, we are the least reason for the reason to eradicate all the evil. Is for our children. And their children. And their children. And generations to come. That is why eradicating all the evil, just chopping off the head of the snake, so to speak, doesn't do the job. Because I'm not really good at science, but if I recall, reptiles, there's some of them that can grow things back. I don't know if they can grow their head back, I doubt it, but they might be able to. I think there's something out there that's gushy that crawls around. Slugs. Slugs? Is that what it is? I think I've heard that in my life, that if they get chopped in half or something, they'll grow it back. I don't know, This is not a biology podcast. I would fail miserably. But at any rate, my point is all the evil needs to be eradicated. And there are far more important reasons for it than you and me, and that is children and their children and their children and their children. So anyway, that's the most commonly heard thing I hear on a day-to-day basis now from just about everybody, if they're speaking to me personally. I want this to be over. Yeah, I know we all do. But we have to look at that from a 40,000 foot view. And we also have to let go and let God. Like God is the perfect timing. So if it's not over yet, we're in alignment with Him. And that's okay with me. We're going to get through this. Whether it's over yesterday or over 100 days from now or more. Whatever. All right. So what else? We're going to be talking about... Oh, I've got some encouragement for you guys tonight. Big encouragement. In fact, the way I worded it is a huge infusion of encouragement I'm going to share with you guys tonight. Because we all need some encouragement. Because most people are saying, I wish this movie were over. So I'm going to give you a huge infusion of encouragement. And I've got 2, not very long, but so encouraging messages that David Sorensen with Stop World Control wrote recently. And there's something I needed to hear. And so I believe you will be grateful that you hear it as well. And do I have an update on medbeds? Woohoo! Of course, I can't verify anything. I mean, like, I don't have lunch with the less than 10 people that comprise the Q, intelligence, military intelligence operation, the guys who make all the decisions, or women. I don't know if it's men and or women. So I don't know for sure, but the information in this update that I have for you is, a lot of it is just common sense, logically thinking, I'll just say if, which I believe it is, but if there are really med beds out there, and if it is advanced medical technology, and if, and again, all these ifs I believe are true. But that's an opinion. I'm not telling you it is, because I don't know. And if I told you I know, or if anybody's telling you they know, you might want to change channels. Just common sense will tell you, and logical thinking, I call it my common sense meter. Common sense meter. Common sense, no common sense. Common sense, no common sense. My common sense meter says that this is true. If you're listening to somebody who is telling you they know anything, really, none of us know anything. We are learning as best we can and making a decision, common sense, no common sense, using our critical thinking skills. Critical thinking skills, no critical thinking skills. I use my hands a lot, don't I? Yeah. I used to do a lot of in-person public speaking. So, I use my hands a lot. I guess it kind of comes along with the video here too. Like, we're all on an awakening journey. I've always got to put this in there too, because I illustrate it this way. Beginning of a journey, end of a journey. We all are awakening. If you're here, you're awakening. You might be in your first week of awakening. You might be in your 15th year of awakening. But none of us have reached there because there's still more coming. And that's okay, because God said everything that's been kept secret, hidden, and in the dark will be revealed and will come to light. He said that in Luke 8:17. He also said it in Matthew and Mark as well. Well, like he said it, Jesus said it. However, Matthew, Mark, and Luke each gave that little bit wording, using the word everything or all or nothing will be hidden. But at any rate, God said everything would be revealed, and guess what this is called? Like somebody made up this term, the Great Awakening. But to me, it's God's awakening. Because God said, and he makes promises, and he keeps them. Everything he ever promised, and everything he is promising, and he said in his word, everything will be revealed. So I take him at his word, literally. All right. So what else? Is that it? Oh, I'm going to take you to, this is why I was coming on late. I'm going to take you, some of you will remember it, some of you will have never heard of it. But it's a website called IngersollLockwood.com. IngersollLockwood.com. He's an author from the 1800s. And he wrote a couple of books that one might think he's even prophetic, even though I don't think he's prophetic. But then I question, how did he write books about a kid by the name of Baron Trump? Well, Frump, I think Donald Frump was a very rich man. That little Baron, I don't think Baron's Trump wasn't his name in the book, but his name was Baron. A little boy named Baron, and he had a very wealthy friend named Donald Frump, I think is what it was. Anyway, this very wealthy man lived on Fifth Avenue in the book. Fifth Avenue, New York. He had a beautiful place, like, gosh, in the same location that Trump Tower is. Imagine that. This book was written in the late 1800s. And anyway, this guy went on to become the last president, which was another book that he wrote. The Last President, which was this guy named, I think it was Donald Frump. Like F-R-U-M-P-H or something like that. And so there's a website called IngersollLockwood.com. And I'm going to show you around that website tonight. I haven't done it for a long time. And a lot of new people follow me all the time. And in fact, in Rumble, we're up to over 6,200, 200 plus, 6,200 plus, almost 6,300 followers in Rumble. So if you're one of them, welcome and thank you. And I'm so glad you're here. And I'm glad you found me. I'm glad God brought us together for such a time as this. Because, like, now you're part of the family. Seeking truth always. We're all seeking truth. So that's where I'm going tonight. Those are the things we're going to do tonight. Oh, one more thing. Sorry, there was one more thing. I've been trying to get to this for 3 podcasts. It's a short article. I didn't write it, but it's on the storm. Preparation matters, because we are in it, folks. We are in it. That's some part of it. I don't think we're in the all of it yet. But I mean, we're getting close. You know, the clouds are on the horizon. We see lightning in the distance. Some claps of thunder going on, you know. And anyway, I'm going to read to you an article that that I found. I'll tell you where you can find it if you're looking for it. It's in a Telegram channel I follow. And basically it's about preparation, and when truth is no longer contained. The truth has been contained, meaning hidden from us. Kind of what God said, right? In Luke 8:17, everything that's been kept secret, hidden, and in the dark will be revealed and will come to light. Will come to truth. The truth will no longer be contained, no longer hidden from us, no longer kept secret. So that's where we're going to go. I'm going to say hi to a few folks, and then we're going to just get into it. And we're going to get her done. Right. Each of those things I'm going to get done tonight. I'm going to try real hard. All right, who is first in the house? Somebody is first in the house, and it is easier to read with my glasses on. It is Ramona. She says, hello, Nancy, and everyone. Ramona's from South Bend, right here in Indiana. So welcome, Ramona. So good to see you, and thank you for your comment. As well as Connie, who says, hello, everyone from Kansas. Welcome, Connie. Good to see you, and thank you as well for your comment. And Connie said, would leave standard time. Oh, wait. I wish they would leave it standard time. Would leave it standard time. I'm going to be like, not sure what you mean. Because, like, Eastern Daylight Time, Eastern Standard Time, that's what we're in. But then someone calls Central Time, Central Standard Time, or Central Daylight Time. So when you say standard, see, I think you're in Kansas, you're an hour behind us, if I'm not mistaken. Like you're an hour, it would be 8:42 your time right now. Tell me if I'm right or wrong, Connie, but I think you would be in Central Time. So I don't know, like, has it ever been like when we change the clocks, it's called Eastern Daylight Time when it's changed, and then it's Eastern Standard Time when it's not? I've never learned that. I've never actually thought about that. But I have heard some people talk like you do and say leave it in Standard Time. But to me, they're all like, unless that's what it is. Like when we change the clocks the one way, it's Eastern Standard Time, which is more daylight, which is what we have now. So technically, I'd be in EST, not EDT, which means Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys are like in my time zone, and you know more than I do about this, which clearly probably everybody does, that would mean, like, right now you're saying, Connie, if I'm reading it that way, and I've walked myself through this with my little common sense meter, you're saying you want it to stay the way it is right now, if I'm reading that right, and if I'm thinking this through correctly, that we'd be in the daylight time right now. I'm not reading. See, I'm still, because we'd have more daylight. I would think EDT would be Eastern Daylight Time, because I know EST is Eastern Standard Time, and so if we have more daylight right now, maybe we have less daylight right now. If it was 9:44 and lighter, if it was 8:44 right now, if we turned our clocks back, we fall back. Well, I guess what you guys have just seen is me explain to you why this confuses me, because I'm so confused and I can't spend any more time on it. But Connie, if you want to explain it, if you say to me, I wanted to say the way it is right now, then I would say there's more daylight when we fall back. But it gets dark so light so early in the wintertime. Anyway, welcome to my mind. All right, Connie, first of all, welcome. Second of all, if you can, explain, you want it keep it the way it is right now, or once we fall back, that's where you'd want it. Because the way President Trump described it in his Truth Social is we'd leave it the way it is right now, which when I read his message, it sounded like we have more daylight now because he was promoting more daylight, and we would leave clocks the way they are right now. And that's how I read that we must be in the time where we have more daylight and leave the clocks alone. So, okay, I'm moving on. Chris is with us, says, made it, typical summer day in South Dakota. Welcome, Chris, and glad you made it and glad you are here. Thank you for your comment. Jerry is joining us from Goshen, Indiana, and she says, hi, Nancy. Welcome, Jerry, and that's about 45 minutes from where I live, for those of you not from the area. And Claudia is joining us tonight. Good to see you. She says, good evening, Nancy and all, and good evening to you as well, Claudia, and good to see you. I'm glad you could make it. And Chris said they want to keep daylight savings time instead of standard time. We are more in sync with standard time. They want to keep daylight savings time. That doesn't explain anything I just was confused about. I'm moving on. But you guys, leave me comments. I will read them. Yeah. All right. Where am I going to go first? I'm going to go to the huge infusion of encouragement. That's where I'm going first, because that we all need. We all need encouragement. And then after that, I'm going to go to the website, Ingersoll Lockwood, and show you guys around that. Then we're going to do the med beds update, and then we will close out with the sequel. So that is the order tonight. That is the order in which I am anticipating going. All right. So, the huge infusion of encouragement. Again, this comes from David Sorensen, which you guys know I've shared multiple times, and multiple videos, multiple articles. I'm currently reading his first published book, which I highly recommend to everybody. And some of you have already finished it that follow me. I haven't got it done yet. I'm so, like, every day I want to read, like, if I could read a chapter a day. But by the end of my day, my day doesn't end until, like, your tomorrow's. Because I'm a night person. So, like, when I get done with this podcast, I'll be in my office for another 4 or 5 hours. And working on what I work on every single day. Like, 7 days a week, I am always working, it's a labor of love. Don't get paid for what I do. Many of you donate, though, which thank you, to keep this ministry going, because there are expenses, and this brings in no personal income for us. So my husband's out there delivering food 7 days a week, to make our Social Security ends meet. We lost everything in COVID. After COVID, we had maxed out our credit cards on our business. We lost our business. We got sued by the company that we had the carpet cleaning franchise with. We got sued by credit card companies because they were maxed out. We had to break a contract with the company we had a franchise contract with, and And then they decided to put liens on our home because we couldn't pay. Still haven't been able to. My husband's delivering food 7 days a week just to make our ends meet. So yeah, it's been pretty rough. But those of you that give toward this ministry, 100% of it goes to this ministry. And I wouldn't still be here if you didn't, or I couldn't be here because I've had to upgrade my computer, and all of it came from you guys supporting Seeking Truth Always. I've had to update everything because I had nothing when I started this except an old computer. So anyway, thank you for all who donate, and for those that do want to give, if the Lord puts in their spirit to do so and you have a calling to do so, there are links in the description of this video that you can find safe and secure places to support Seeking Truth Always. And if you do, or if you have, or if you currently do, thank you. Thank you. All right, so back to David Sorensen. These are two short things he wrote in the last just few days. And I want to read both of them to you. And this is a huge infusion of encouragement. And if you know who he is, and you know, or if you watch me cover things that he's done before, you know what's coming. I mean, as far as what I'm going to be sharing with you, you're going to feel better than you did before you got here tonight, no matter how much we want this movie to end. The first one begins by saying, in the coming months and years, we are going to see the battle between good and evil intensify. Severe events will bring great disruption. He's preparing us. What is happening in Spain? 60,000 violent criminals being unleashed by Alex Soros and fed by the Red Cross to destroy an entire area is just one example. See, this is a worldwide war of good versus evil. Now, how God works always has worked for me. He'll put things in my spirit, and then he gives me confirmation. From the beginning of this ministry, from the beginning of my first podcast in April of 2021, when he called me to do this, it was a war of good versus evil to me. That's what he put in my spirit. It's a war of good versus evil. And I've said that from the beginning. David Sorensen, among many others, but he was one of the first, where I saw those exact words in this. It's a battle between good and evil. It's a war of good versus evil, which gave me confirmation that what God gave me way back when I first started. I mean, I started researching about 2 years before that, 3 years, almost 8 years ago. He gave me the scripture, Luke 8:17, preparing me for my journey. And then a couple of years into that, he had me start these podcasts. That was April 2021. But from the beginning, I said it was a war of good versus evil. So again, David is saying there's severe events and they're going to bring great disruption. Now, the people in Spain, this is a really severe event. 60,000 violent criminals being unleashed by Alex Soros and fed by the Red Cross. And you guys are involved in right now this series I'm doing on a sequel to the Fall of the Cabal. And in the parts 1 through 10 of the original Fall of the Cabal, as well as the sequel, Janet Ossebaard goes into great detail about the Red Cross. If you don't know this, they're not who you have always thought they were. Anyway, the Red Cross is feeding these 60,000 violent criminals. That should tell you all you need to know. And they are destroying an entire area. He goes on to say the extreme fires, the incredible natural catastrophes, the sudden outbreaks of disease, and God knows what other kinds of violence that may be coming to America. We are in for a severe shaking. He said many will cry, as they always do, that this is a sign of the end of the world, or the victory of darkness, or any other doom and gloom belief. The truth is that these events prove that evil is being conquered. Do you get that, you guys? All of this is evidence that evil is being conquered. David goes on to say, the dragon has been slain, and it is dying for all eternity, never to return. That's what I said in my opening. I never know what I'm going to say. I never know what I'm going to say. I leave that to the Lord, whatever he puts in my heart. And I just said something like that. We're doing it not for us. We're doing it. That was like nowhere, like on my notes. I didn't know I was going to say that. And yes, I've read this article, but it wasn't like, oh, I memorized the article. I didn't even remember it said that. Yes, it proves that evil is being conquered. The dragon has been slain and is dying for all eternity, for generations to come, like I said a little bit ago. For generations to come. So there is no more evil. So we got to stop like whining about how long this is taking and how tired we are. And I mean, we all are. But it's for a good reason. It can't be any better reason than God's. Dying for all eternity, never to return. Never. That he's talking about evil. Never to return. But David said, its twisting tail. The dragon. The twisting tail and its networks of minions are still trying to save what they can. By saving, they mean destroy as much as they can. The evil Satan is trying to keep as much deception and deceit and killing and stealing and destroying. He's going to do as much as he can in his last days. Yeah, there's some last days coming, but it ain't ours. It's the enemy's last days are coming. We are not witnessing the increase of darkness, David goes on to say. We are all privileged to be living during the time that the rule of Satan is coming to an end. And we see the first glimpse of a whole new world emerging. And you guys who listen to me regularly, you know I talk about this all the time. This is what God puts in my spirit. This is exactly what he's been telling me all along. David just like is one confirmation. I mean, confirmation for me and what's in my spirit. But he says it so beautifully. But I have said myself that we are blessed beyond, we are blessed beyond measure to be chosen to be witnesses for such a time as this, for exactly what David is talking about. That we're witnessing it, we are living through it. He says we are privileged. I say we are blessed beyond measure to have been chosen. It's the same thing, just different words. He concludes by saying, don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged by the desperate spasms of a dying serpent. He said, don't listen to the voices of death and darkness. What do I tell you guys? I say, if you're listening to the doom and gloomers, I'm saying it differently, but I'm saying the same thing. Change the channel. Change the channel. The enemy is using them to steal, kill, and destroy the emotions, the hope of everyone that tunes into their doom and gloom podcasts. David says it this way, don't listen to the voices of death and darkness. Listen to the voice of hope and restoration. Our future is brilliant, he concludes by saying. Whether you believe it or not, our future is brilliant. Whew. That's only article number 1. Woo-hoo. Let me share with you the second article. Can you take any more encouragement? Yeah, I know, I can too. Okay. This is number 2, article number 2. StopWorldControl.com if you want to find David Sorensen. StopWorldControl.com. And he's also on Facebook under his name, David Sorensen, Sorensen. And you can find his book. It's the only book he's written. And so if you just do a search for David John Sorensen, his book will come right up. The Worldwide Freedom and Truth Movement, he begins this article, is literally infested with countless agents of Mossad. Mossad are not good guys. David Icke, Alex Jones, Stu Peters, and many more. David shares dozens of them. Almost every large platform is Mossad. So what does that mean? He says, think clearly. Me, I'll say, use your common sense meter. This is like fully on and engaged. Not. Critical thinking, fully on and engaged. Not. Think clearly. These agents were trained decades ago. Do you understand what that means? David Icke was trained to be the leading truth voice in the United Kingdom, so he would take control of the entire movement in the UK. Alex Jones was trained to be the same for the USA. Every individual country has their own set of Mossad agents. Deep State Israel, State of Israel agents, Communist State of Israel, not biblical Israel, not biblical Israel. Did I just say that? Biblical Israel is not who David is talking about in regard to Mossad agents. He's talking about the state of Israel that was formed in 1948. It is not biblical Israel. Every individual country has their own set of Mossad agents that control the truth movement. Do you know that is extremely encouraging, he said? What? How can that be encouraging, David Sorensen? How can that be encouraging? He says, why? Okay, I'll answer it, he said. Because it shows how Israel has known about the current awakening for many decades. They planted all these agents in these different countries to begin to get following of people. The enemy seeks to steal, kill, and destroy, and he twists everything, and Satanism inverts everything. So this shows how Israel has known about the current awakening for many decades and is so afraid of it that they desperately started training agents in a panic attempt to control and divert it. So when I talk about Jewish people, I am not talking about good Jewish people. I'm talking about Mossad, evil, CCCP, deep state, cabal, whatever you want to, your adjectives of what the evil side is. So when I say in his article, the Jews, okay, don't freak out. I'm not talking about good people, and there are good people who are Jewish, okay? We're talking about the state of Israel and Mossad. All right, so he says the Jews, the bad ones, foresaw this awakening decades ago. That was also said by Bill Wood, a military whistleblower who leaked Operation Looking Glass. Operation Looking Glass. I've shared some of these leaked videos in this podcast over the last 5 years. He's a whistleblower that blew the whistle on Operation Looking Glass. That's like looking back and to look forward. Yes, you could call that time travel if you chose to. The secret government operation was created to look into the future. But Nancy, that's not real. That's a conspiracy theory. Well, you might believe it is, but I don't. I've done too much for too long to believe that that is a conspiracy theory. What it basically does is input data. What Operation Looking Glass does is it inputs data about the present world and then calculates the possible outcomes in the future. This allowed the Satanists, the bad guys, the evil in this war of good versus evil, this allowed the Satanists to manipulate current events through the decades with a selected outcome. That's called world manipulation at its finest. But in the 1990s, so listen carefully to this part. Some of you have already heard it before. Some of you have studied it and found it on your own. Some of you remember me talking about it before. But many of you are new. It's to you whom I'm speaking. Listen to this. But in the 1990s, the computers kept coming up with one single inevitable outcome. They input data about what's going on, and then they look to the future. And in the 1990s, the computers kept coming up with just one outcome. Not like, well, this could happen, or that could happen, or this and this, or maybe even that could happen. No. One inevitable, not even possible, it's inevitable outcome. And this is it. In the 21st century, all truth would come out. Now, can you imagine what these evil people, entities, I don't like to call them people, but at any rate, can you imagine as they're inputting this data, like, we're going to get them all, we're going to get them, we're going to get them, we're going to get them. And it says in the 21st century, all truth. Because the reason they could get away with everything that they've gotten away with is they have been lying to us. They have been lying to us all of our lives. They have been deceiving us. Satan seeks to steal, kill, and destroy. If he can take away knowledge, what did God say about knowledge? For my people will perish for lack of knowledge. That's Hosea 4:6, if you want to look it up. So even the devil knew what God knew about knowledge. If they don't have knowledge, they're going to perish. What does perish mean? I ain't going to live. They're done. They're not going to exist. They're going to go bye-bye. For my people will perish for lack of knowledge. So they kept all the knowledge from us. They started taking the knowledge where? From the tree of knowledge. That goes all the way back to there are no coincidences here. Okay? You can take the Bible back to Adam and Eve and the Garden of Eden. And what did the devil do? And how did he do it? And with what? Knowledge. The tree of knowledge. So they've taken our knowledge away. Everything's the same under the sun, so to speak. The devil's tricks don't change. They stay the same. So they've been deceiving us. So again, this outcome of Project Looking Glass, this one inevitable outcome, these Satanists looked at it and it's like, in the 21st century, all truth. And I mean, they've been lying to us for centuries. All truth would come out, resulting in a worldwide awakening. Awakening. A worldwide awakening. The one thing that can foil Satan's plans is us having knowledge. So they found out in the 1990s. The Satanists found out, because they don't believe, because they know Project Looking Glass was not a conspiracy theory. They were operating it and working with it to steal, kill, and destroy each of us. So after they found this out in the 1990s, they hired the very best experts to try and change the outcome. They didn't want that to happen. They did not want all of us to wake up in the 21st century, because once we do, game over. Game over for the evil side. Good wins. God wins. Period. So they hired the very best experts to try and change the outcome, but all of them failed. Each and every one of them failed. Operation Looking Glass kept revealing one and the same future event which could not be prevented. The world would wake up and all truth would come out. That would mean the end of the rule of evil and the dawn of a whole new world. When they found it was impossible to prevent this, they did the second best thing. They're going to try to control the upcoming awakening. So that's what they did. They started training agents like Alex Jones, Stu Peters, David Icke. See how the dots are connecting now? And countless others in every nation of the world to become the leading voices of the truth movement. Their operatives would become the greatest voices of the truth movement. And figure out and think in your own mind, who have the fancy studios? Who have all the admins and all the people working for them, and who have the researchers working for them, and who has the best equipment, the best of everything, the best time slots, the best of the best. Why? Because they can afford it. Why? Because they're financed. Their mission was to spread a certain amount of truth and gather all of the people who want truth under your wings and say all the things they want to hear. Think of how the message has changed. If you've been in this as long as I have, going like 8 years, if you've been in this that long, or even similarly 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, think about who you followed, whose messages have changed. They were big Trump people. They were MAGA to the end. They were Donald Trump. He's got it. He's the man. And now, what are they saying? Who are you following that changed course? Who are you following that? The Great Awakening, where is everything's good, things are going to come, we can't lose, nothing can stop what is coming, we've got this, where we go one, we go all, and now all of a sudden it's doom and gloom. Doom and gloom, I don't know what we're going to do, I don't know what, oh, why did Trump do that? Oh, if we can't get, we'll never win this. If you're following people who have changed course like that, this is who we're talking about. I should say that's who David's talking about, but I've talked about it a few times myself in the last 5 years. So, their mission was spread a certain amount of truth and gather all of the people, say what they want you to hear, they want what they want to hear. You got all these people, you've got tens of thousands of followers, or you've got hundreds of thousands of followers. And you were like clockwork. You were there. You were on it. You were with people constantly. It was like you just wanted to be, because you loved the people so much and you just wanted to help them so much. And now, like, where are they? Where are they? Oh, they have time once in a while to share a little doom and gloom. Oh, okay. At a critical time, whatever that time was, in the devil's plan for them, at a critical time, all these people following them, the message would start to change. It would be slow. It would be very minimal. It would be like you look at grass, but you don't see it growing, but yet it is. And at that critical time, you will sabotage them. Meaning, these people, these infiltrators, they would sabotage them. The message would start changing, and slowly but surely you cast it out there and you're reeling them in and you're reeling them in. And now all of a sudden, like, you believe what they're saying because you've listened to them for week after week and month after month and year after year, and now they're saying this. How could you not believe them? You've been following them for 5 years or 4 years or 6 years. One interesting fact David goes on to say is that the Mossad knew decades ago about the Q operation and Donald Trump. They knew he would become president. They already knew it. They were fully aware of the divine plan. Divine means of God. The divine plan with Q to end the rule of Satan. That's why you see that all these big truth channels are attacking Trump, or they'll attack, quote, QAnon. They will attack Q, like Alex Jones. They pose as if they support Trump, so they gain the trust of MAGA, but they then use their MAGA influence to set up patriots to be against Trump. Israel and Mossad know all too well that it's all about Trump. If they can get Trump out of the way, the Q operation to save humanity will fail, because they need him in that government position with his brilliant gifting. That's why the very essence of all this opposition and infiltration in the truth movement is to set up everyone against President Trump. David says, I am not sure, but I wonder if the same goes for people, he's saying this, about Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and their whole group. Even just some General Flynn is suspect. So David is saying, I don't know. And truthfully, no one does. Absolutely. No one does. And David is just saying, I'm not sure. I wonder if the same goes for them. It is not always clear who is secretly on Trump's side and who is a real traitor. But fact is, the movement for truth and freedom is extremely infested with traitors, which is incredibly encouraging, David says, because it shows just how dangerous this awakening is and how desperate Israel and the bad, evil Jewish deep state are to manipulate it, how desperate they are to manipulate. But God. David closes this article with, but God. He's ordained the deliverance of the human race, and nobody can stop that. The era of darkness is ending, and we are entering a new era where the truth will reign supreme on earth. He says, not in the twinkling of an eye, but a process that was started that will continue into the coming years and decades. He closes by saying 10 years from now, we will already see a massive transformation. And a century from now, this earth will be so different that those generations will find it impossible to even believe that the world was once as dark as it is right now. Whew. If you don't get fired up about that article, I think your wood is wet. Or your match got a pitcher of water thrown on it. Yeah. So let me just close that segment by sharing the article regarding preparation and preparation for the storm. Because basically that's what David's referring to as the storm. The the events that are coming and so forth. So this comes from a Telegram channel with by the name of War Correspondent, and you can find it in Telegram and also on X. There might be other platforms. They might be in Truth Social as well. And he writes articles, whoever it is, I don't know, but they've been pretty spot on and very, very, very full of information, as is this one that's called Prepare for the Storm. So this isn't very long, but it begins. The storm is not chaos. It is not destruction. It is not a call to fear or a call to be angry or have disorder. The storm is the moment when truth, here it is again, can no longer be contained. Can no longer be contained. I mean, we have David on one end saying it his way, war correspondent saying it in his way, I say it in my way, you may say it in your way. The storm is the moment when truth can no longer be contained. For years, the world has been taught to look away, to accept silence, to live under pressure, and to confuse fear with obedience. But nothing hidden remains hidden forever. Now I'm going to just go back to scripture on that line and say, God said it himself in Luke 8:17. Everything that's kept secret, hidden in the dark, will be revealed and will come to truth, to light. Yeah. There comes a time when truth begins to rise. Not always the way people expect, and not always in a form that feels comfortable, but it rises. Truth cannot be, light cannot exist in darkness. You guys know that. Go in an inside room in your house with no windows, and then light a match or light a candle, and the whole room is, there's no corner in that room that's in the dark anymore. Darkness cannot exist with light. Light is truth. Okay. Prepare your mind, prepare your heart, prepare your home, prepare your family, as well as your community. Not with fear. Oh, that's what the world would like. That's what Satan would like. You know, he wants everybody to be scared. No, not with fear, but with clarity. Not with anger, but with discipline. Not with panic, but with patience, awareness, and strength. The greatest weapon of darkness is confusion. Our God is not a God of confusion, right? God is not a God of confusion. If there is confusion and chaos, none of that's of God. The greatest weapon of darkness is confusion. Confusion makes people fight each other. Confusion makes people believe false messages. Confusion makes people act out of emotion instead of wisdom. And it turns truth into just noise. But the greatest strength of the people is clarity. Clarity keeps you calm when others are panicking. Clarity helps you recognize deception. Clarity allows you to protect your family. Clarity reminds you that truth does not need chaos to be powerful. When important information begins to surface, there will be noise. Look here, not there. Look over there. Look. Some events may appear disconnected. Some voices will try to provoke division. Some messages will be false. Some people will try to use fear as a weapon. Watch carefully. Think clearly. And do not react before you understand. Truth does not require violence. Right there, just use this little meter. Who are the ones that want violence all the time? In this, at least in, well, it's everywhere in the world. Who are the ones that want violence? They're not the good ones. That's a clue. Freedom does not require hatred. How much hatred is there out there? And who's hating? You guys know. Justice does not require chaos. The road requires strength, maturity, unity, calm minds, and people who can hear difficult truth without losing themselves. Because the storm is not only about what will be revealed, it is also about who people become when the truth is revealed. Will people panic or will they remain calm? Will people divide or will they choose unity? Will people act from anger or will they act with wisdom? This is the real test. The storm is not something to fear. It is a test of clarity, discipline, and whether people can face the truth without becoming what they once opposed. That is why preparation matters. Prepare your mind so fear cannot control you. No matter what you see going on out there, prepare your mind, and you're going to do that in Christ. You're going to do that with the Word of God. Prepare yourself for when these harder times come, and by all accounts, they are coming. We cannot let fear control us. Prepare your home so your family feels safe. Prepare your community so people around you do not fall into panic. That's why I'm reading this to you right now. That's why I shared David's encouragements and said I'm going to, have a huge infusion of encouragement, because I'm helping to prepare our community. You're under my umbrella, a community. And you can take this message and share it with others. Your faith, your trust, your peace, your calm with others, so they don't fall into panic either. Prepare your heart so truth does not turn into hatred, and prepare your spirit so you can remain strong when the noise all around us becomes loud. When the noise becomes loud, in other words, there's things happening that could unsettle you, unsettle anyone. When the noise becomes loud, we need to remain calm. If we don't remain calm, then who will? We're awake. We knew it's coming. We knew it was coming. It's coming. When it's here, it's here. Whatever here is, whatever it is, I don't know. We just need to be prepared. And we need to remain calm. And if fear is amplified, we need to choose reason. That little common sense meter I talked about. Choose. Choose reason. Let your critical thinking work. Let it work. This is not working. This is working. When people turn against one another, we need to stand for unity. When false messages spread, we need to be sure to always verify before speaking. You guys know anything I share, whatever, I'm going to be sharing about med beds in just a couple of minutes. I can't tell you for sure it's true, that all of it, any of it, all whatever. I believe it is. It's my opinion it is. But I don't have sources that are on the inside less than 10 Q Military Intelligence Committee of decision makers. But we need to verify before speaking, but speak the truth. I will never lie to you guys. I have never lied to you guys. I won't lie to you guys. I give you my opinion. None of our opinions are lies. Our opinions are just that. But I tell you what I think. I tell you whether I think it makes sense or not. My little critical thinking meter. When the world feels heavy, remember the darkness always fears the light. Remember, that little match will light up the whole room. It is about choosing truth without hatred, and courage without chaos, and strength without cruelty. Think of who's so cruel in the world right now. That's not us. That's not us who are awake. In closing, the coming days require awareness. The coming process requires unity. And the people, we all need to stay connected. That's why God has kept me here. I know, because even if we never meet in person, We're still connected with like-minded individuals. There's 6,200 plus like-minded individuals on my Rumble channel. There's 5,000 plus followers in my Facebook channel that are followers. I don't know who they are. I had 0 when I started these in April of 21. I had 2,300 friends, and I still do. But there's 5,000 plus more following me right now that are connected. That's what this is talking about. People must stay connected. And I don't know how many and who they are that are out there that still need connecting. But that's why I keep doing these. Well, because God called me to. That's why he called me to. Because everybody needs unity, and we all need these connections, even if it's just a face on a screen and comments on a video. So that concludes that article. So if you just joined and you didn't get to hear the previous two, it is a huge infusion of encouragement. So rewind when I finish, or watch the video in full, because you will feel much better when I'm done with this segment than you did when you joined. And so now we are going to go to, I'm going to save Ingersoll Lockwood. I really wanted to get to that tonight, but I'm going to do medbeds because that's going to take a little while. I don't think I'll have time to do Ingersoll Lockwood, the website, because I definitely want to get to part 11 of the sequel to The Fall of the Cabal. But we'll see. I'll see how long the medbed segment takes. There's a lot of information I'll be sharing in there, so I don't want to rush through that. So we'll just see. If so, I will put it on my next podcast for Ingersoll Lockwood, because you definitely will want to learn about that if you don't know about it. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. But right now, we are going to segue into the segment I have prepared on the medbeds. So again, disclaimer, I'm about to share with you, I believe is credible. I believe is coming. I can't say for sure that every single detail I share is going to be the way it rolls out. I can't even guarantee that any of it will. I do believe it will. I have believed it will for a long time, and that is because there's too many things in the world that has been proven to me, and there's many different. We don't have to be in contact with that group of less than 10 and sit down and eat dinner with them because they know everything going on in this great awakening going on. There are so many other things in the world that have come to pass in knowledge being revealed that have nothing to do with whether or not the Save America Act passes in the Senate, or have nothing to do with the liberals and Carney in Canada, or the United Nations, or the EU, or there's so many different things that have proven to me over the years of me doing this, 8 years now. 5 years publicly on these podcasts, but that have given me, without even a sliver of doubt in me, not even a sliver of doubt, that there has been advanced technology in previous generations and hundreds to thousands of years before we existed. I can see that with my own eyes. I can see the buildings that were not from our lifetimes. Just as one example. I can see that they could not have been built with hands like these and bodies like ours. And if we are to believe what we have been told about these buildings, for instance, Notre Dame in Europe, or the Colosseum in Rome, or let's go to South Bend, Indiana, and say the Sacred Heart Basilica of Notre Dame, the Catholic Church there. It could not have been built when they said it was without a power tool. That's what they want us to believe. Because they give us a date and they give us a time, but they don't think we're smart enough to figure out, what was the technology at that time? How did they build that? How did they do that? How did they put the stained glass windows and way up, whatever? How did they get the materials there? How many horses and wagons would it have taken in the 1800s to bring all of that? And I'm just talking about one Catholic church on the University of Notre Dame right now. But let's go to the Field Museum in Chicago now. There you go. That I think spans 5 football fields. And they want us to believe the horses and wagons, wood wagons and horses and mules brought all of the materials to build it when they said it was built. And in the minimal years they say these buildings were built in, 2 years, 1 year, 3 years. What? All right. All that to say is because I believe with every fiber of my being that there have been advanced technology. I don't have the answers. I can't tell you. I can give you my opinions. I'll do that on another podcast. But I can say that I know that if, which I believe there was, some kind of advanced technology or divine intervention to build these structures that, by the way, always have a doorway in the big entryway. Like the big entryway is this high, like this high, the big entryway, but the doors we walk through are that high. Just look at all of them. Look at any of these buildings. They have big archways. Big, huge archways. And then there's a little door down here. And then a big, huge archway. Little door. Because that's what we walk through. So what was going through the big archways? I don't have the answer to all that. I got opinions. But they made these buildings and could not have made them with our hands and our structure, our bodies, or whatever. There was something. There was advanced technology. So, with all that being said, I believe there is advanced medical technology we have been denied and not been given and is coming back. Why? Because God said everything that's been kept secret, hidden, and in the dark will be revealed and will come to light. And guess what? That includes medical technology. It includes that. Because that's under the umbrella of everything. So when you listen to this and you say, that's not possible. When you listen to what I'm going to read to you and you say, with your mind, you got to have it open like a parachute. If you don't have an open parachute when you jump out of a plane, you're not going to make it if you don't have an open mind. Our mind is like a parachute. It's got to be open to work. So when you say, well, that's not possible. That's not possible. That's not possible. Well, guess what I say? With God, all things are possible. With God, all things are possible. And if there is previous civilizations that had more technology than we have now, and it's been proven there is, all you got to do is look at them yourself. Just do a Google Earth. Go over to Europe. Take a look at some of those buildings and tell me that people like you and me could have built them with no power tools. All right. That's my preamble. And I had to do the preamble because a lot of this is going to sound crazy to some of you if you're new. And if your minds are absolutely closed, like a parachute that won't open, you're probably going to leave me a mean comment. And all I can say is, please don't. Just turn off the video now if you don't want to hear it. If you do want to hear it, then be nice. Just be nice. And you don't have to believe any of it. Just because I do, you don't have to. And you can think I'm Lulu and loopy. I mean, she's crazy. Whatever, you can think what you want. But if you do listen, the seeds will be planted. Just saying. Going full circle. All right, med beds. How does med bed healing work? For those of you looking for this article, it's in amg-news.com. amg-news.com. It was published, I think, 3 days ago. So if you want to find it, you want to review it, you want to read it, you want to share it, that's where you'll find it. amg-news.com. MedBeds News. How does MedBed healing work? This is a step-by-step guide to the entire procedure of MedBeds. Discover, the article begins, discover the revolutionary world of MedBeds with this comprehensive guide. Explore how these cutting-edge devices promise to heal at a cellular level, restore health, and extend life. The concept of MedBeds is shrouded in mystery and intrigue. Quantum technology is at the heart of these stories, suggesting a leap beyond traditional medical science. The key takeaway here is to approach this topic with an open mind. Remember, our minds are like a parachute. They need to be open in order to work. Approach this topic with an open mind and conduct your own research to form your own informed opinion. Nikola Tesla had great influence creating these beds. Experiments were conducted with the German scientists in the 70s. Rebuilding and redesigning started again by a scientific team that included physicists and doctors. That was in the 70s. MedBeds have a rich historical background. Nikola Tesla, a pioneer in electrical and mechanical engineering, played a crucial role in their initial development. And I want to add, try to find information about Nikola Tesla in history books that is taught in schools. I never heard of Nikola Tesla. In fact, I didn't know who Tesla was when Tesla vehicles came out. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know the word Tesla way back. And again, it was hidden from us. It was kept from us. The history of Nikola Tesla, period, was kept secret from us, from all of humanity. He was a pioneer in electrical and mechanical engineering. He played a crucial role in the development, the initial development of these medical devices. The technology underwent several phases of experimentation and redesign, involving prominent scientists and doctors over the decades. You'll say, well, why didn't we ever hear anything about it? Because they were keeping it secret from us. Luke 8:17, everything that's been kept secret, hidden in the dark, will be revealed and will come to light. We have been lied to about everything. Moving on. There are many behind the creating of these healing devices, and still the technology remained suppressed by the deep state. There are about 100 different variations of the MedBed currently, where the three types, holographic, regeneration, and regression, can work in one device. The healing process with med beds is reportedly passive, occurring while the patient is asleep. This non-invasive approach highlights the advanced nature of this technology, promising a pain-free experience. The science behind med beds, from conception through infancy, all throughout our teenage years to current day, there have been holographic images made of our body. In fact, everybody's body. Although it is far more scientific, simply think of it as a holographic camera taking pictures of the body. A hologram is a three-dimensional image that uses light and uses sound. Medbeds utilize holographic technology to capture three-dimensional images or 3D images of the body. These images are akin to a detailed lifelong medical record, providing comprehensive data for diagnosis and treatment. During a medbed diagnostic session, the body is scanned from head to toe. Anything that is not in balance will be seen immediately. Imbalances could be illness, disease, missing limbs or organs, to foreign substances that should not be in the body. Foreign substance includes toxins, bacteria, inflammation, fat, and the factors that cause addiction. Blood and DNA analysis helps in detecting any hereditary markers. Now, as far as stuff in the body that shouldn't be there, think 2020, think COVID, think vaccines, think of anybody that might need these. Just a passing thought. A diagnostic session with a medbed involves a full body scan that identifies any imbalances or anomalies. This includes detecting illnesses, diseases, foreign substances, and hereditary markers through blood and DNA analysis. For example, if the patient has heart disease, the diagnostic scan will pick it up. With a library of holographic images throughout the patient's life, the medbed can pull the slide where the patient's heart was at its strongest. Based on that slide, it will project the healthy heart image down to the patient, restoring the heart when it was the healthiest. Cellular and DNA reconstructs. During the repair session, immediately following, there is minimally invasive surgery and has little, if any, discomfort after. Medbeds use holographic projections to heal. For instance, if a patient has heart disease, the medbed retrieves an image of the heart at its healthiest state. And the process will involve DNA reconstruction. And there will be minimal invasiveness and minimal discomfort. These smart beds take us back to our original DNA before, this is an important, very important paragraph. These smart beds, these med beds, take us back to our original DNA before we began to get poisoned by our foods, by our air, by our soil, and our water. Our body will be healed at a molecular or cellular level. Obesity will also go away. Med beds aim to revert our bodies to their original untainted DNA healing at a molecular level. This includes addressing issues like obesity by restoring cellular health. What happens after a diagnostic and repair session? Depending on each individual session, it can take anywhere from 1 to 6 hours to recoup. There will be a greater number of bathroom visits after use as everything flushes from the body. The body's original height is restored as well. I was 5'9" my whole life. Now I'm 5'7". I never even thought of that. That is so cool. Because the body has a memory to it, the cells become optimal. They continue to communicate with other cells, rejuvenating the body for another few months. Post-treatment recovery varies, but generally lasts from 1 to 6 hours. The body will continue to rejuvenate in the following several months. Regarding cellular frequency and healing and how that works, every cell has a frequency and wavelength pattern to it. The weak pattern cell will merge with the strong pattern cells, which result in an integral balance. Healing occurs through the merging of cellular frequencies. Weak cells align with stronger ones, resulting in a balanced and healthier body. Before experiencing the medbed, expect to have a very detailed orientation where there will be a thorough questionnaire about your health. Any past operations, organ removal, teeth fillings or caps, mental issues or addictions, everything will be discussed. A detailed pre-treatment orientation ensures that all health aspects are considered, and this includes discussing past operations, organ removal, dental work, mental health issues, as well as addictions. Most pre-treatment care will be of a psychological nature. This is to help prepare people to understand the dramatic curing process that they will be going through. Psychological preparation is crucial to helping patients understand and cope with the healing process that they will be undergoing. Regarding addictions, depending on addiction and how serious a habit is, one may have to go to spiritual counseling. This counseling will also be helping with changing to a healthy diet. The medical centers may not book a treatment until the patient makes an effort to change. To understand the importance of this, continue reading. Enabling won't work in a quantum future. Addressing addictions requires spiritual counseling and lifestyle changes. Patients may need to demonstrate a commitment to change before receiving treatment, emphasizing the importance of holistic health. Regarding accessibility and availability, these medbeds will be in every major city to start. Military is involved with getting everything started. Then the goal is to have 2 medbeds in every county. The medbed will be free to use. Transportation costs will be patient responsibility. Medbeds will initially be available in the major cities, with the military facilitating the rollout. Currently, regarding distribution and future availability, they are sparsely located throughout the world. Individuals can make appointment only for themselves, not anyone else. If someone does not want to have a medbed appointment, that is their choice. AI will know this, the artificial intelligence. There is no specific date, no verified yet, of when they will become more widely available in the 2 in every county. I'll just go, not in the article, I'll just say that from my understanding, there may be something in the article about this, but they have been being used for the trafficking victims, the survivors, and they've been used for military, for PTSD, for physical, medical problems, for limbs that they lost, the military, and regarding any number of abuses that trafficking victims, survivors have experienced and have to deal with as a result of their trauma, physically and emotionally. So they have been being used, from all my understanding. And all of that is being documented, and we'll have all access to that information when these are rolled out. And will be when that effort is complete with treating the trafficking victims as well as the military. Everyone will be treated equally and respected for their personal feelings, where judgments will not be made on each patient. Personal issues such as PTSD or other mental challenges, the choice to get vaccinated or not, everyone is equal. Equality and respect are paramount in medbed treatment centers. Patients with PTSD, mental challenges, or differing vaccination statuses will all be treated the same. There will be security at the medbed center medical facilities. In the beginning, it is expected there will be those attempting to jump the line to get in front of others for themselves or a loved one to be treated first. Security ensures this will not happen. Security measures will be in place to ensure fair treatment and prevent individuals from skipping the queue. A QUEUE. Every appointment length is different depending on each individual's needs or desires. Overall, it will be approximately 3 days for each person to begin from start to finish. The first day is consultation. The second day is medbed repair. The third day is observation. These will have a minimal downturn for recovery after treatment. No post-operation healing, no post issues. The typical treatment timeline spans 3 days. The recovery time, again, will be minimal. Now, after military and children, which I just talked about military and trafficking, but they're talking about now military and children, as well as the elderly. This is when the rollout happens. After military and children, the elderly, including nursing home and all elder care facilities, are helped next. Depending on the situation, there are those who are in need of medical assistance urgently that may not be in the above categories, and those in critical need will be blended into the above categories. Priority will be given to military personnel, children, and the elderly. Those with urgent medical needs will be accommodated as necessary. The doctors and other professionals running the facilities are carefully selected. This is true humanitarian work. There is no profit in this. Their motivation has to be compassion and love. Quantum technology is sensitive and able to pick up a person's individual intentions. The staff will be spiritually trained in consciousness, where they are non-judgmental of others, including patients. Staff selection prioritizes love, and it prioritizes compassion. No, staff will undergo training as needed to ensure these factors. The qualifier to become employed at these centers is a good heart. A good heart has a higher energy vibration, which means a more open mind. Background doesn't matter. If an individual is full of ego and used to controlling situations, they will not be accepted. The primary qualification for employment is just simply having a good heart. High energy vibration and an open mind are essential. And again, egotistical individuals will be turned away. The medbeds eliminate the pharmaceutical and the supplement industry. Medbeds have the potential to revolutionize healthcare by eliminating the need for both pharmaceutical and supplements and those industries. There will be healing centers for animals and all living things in the world, even if we had a pet lizard. Home replicators and frequency healing devices can also be used until that time. Healing centers will extend their services to animals, ensuring holistic care for every living creature worldwide or person. Regarding natural sleep induction, there will be no sleeping gas, no sedatives or drugs used to prepare someone for the medbed. The melatonin in one's own body will be ramped up to a degree that a deep sleep ensues, making this natural and organic. Medbeds induce sleep naturally by enhancing the body's melatonin production. This is why they are able to avoid the use of any drugs or any sedatives. Metal in the body degenerates and bones come back. If a person has had cataract surgery, the lens will be removed and eyesight is corrected. Any man-made items in the body will be removed. Medbeds can degenerate metal just in using them. They can regenerate bones. They can correct eyesight. Again, all man-made things in a body, and there's not going to be pain associated with it. Like, no, they can't take that out of my knee. There's not going to be pain associated with this. Some, in regarding the effectiveness of medbeds, some are saying 100% correction is after the very first time. There are others who have said maybe a few times, depending on the medbed quantum healing system being used. And still others have said it will be on an as-needed situation. We will learn more detail about this as technology advances and information becomes available. The safe integration of AI, the artificial intelligence, works in concert with our human connection in a manner where it is safe. This means that AI will not take over. The AI in medbeds is designed to complement human connection safely. It will not dominate the healing process. In regard to global distribution, there are machines throughout the world. As mentioned earlier, distribution is sparse and will eventually be in the major cities, every state, and every country. In the United States, it is the military that is rolling out the medbeds to ensure integrity of machine and usage. Also, there are medbeds as well as a celestial chamber medbed. The worldwide distribution may be run by the military in other countries as well, but the U.S. military, again, will handle it in the U.S. Regarding longevity and health, we all will live longer with the medbed. Those of us who are older now, depending on diet and attitude, we can expect to live to 100 to 200 years old. As we clean up the unhealthy DNA and the genetic markers for future generations, they will be able to live 300 to 400 years, possibly even more. Now think back to the beginning of biblical days, beginning in the Old Testament, how long people lived. And that's what God created us to do, right? If they lived 700 years or 600 years or 300 years, God created humanity to live that long because they did live that long. So if we're taken back to what God created with this advanced technology, then anything is possible. Remember, with God, all things are possible. So medbeds do have the promise of extended lifespans and anywhere from 100 to multiple hundreds of years as DNA and genetic markers are purified. Regarding the holographic nature of DNA, our bodies are a holograph, and so is our DNA. So when DNA moves and transfers, it moves from one place to another. It leaves third density into another dimension, then reappears in another third density place. Our bodies and DNA are holographic with the ability to move between the dimensions. This concept underpins the transformative power of the medbeds. Medbeds also will retrain the mind. Consider the physical healing with the medbed to be 5 to 10% of the purpose, the physical healing. The other 90% of the light beds are to spiritually help us into the quantum life. DNA is an antenna. It draws frequencies and energies from the source of the quantum field. When you think, what you think is what you create. Isn't that even true in what we read in the Bible? It says your thoughts, like we become who we think we are, like what we think. If we think we'll be, if we say we're like broke all the time, we're going to end up being broke because we put that out there. If we say, oh, I'm always sick, you're going to always be sick. So what you think is what you create. How you see yourself is who you become. The medbed will amplify what you believe and think of yourself. You have got to be solid with who you are, or as Aristotle said, know thyself. You must love and respect yourself to draw in like energies. If you don't love and respect yourself, the same energies will be drawn toward you. Medbeds are designed to retrain the mind, with physical healing comprising only a small part of their purpose. The primary goal is spiritual transformation, aligning with the quantum field. Self-love and self-respect are crucial for drawing positive energies. Medbeds are designed to empower younger generations. We must work with the younger generations because while society was diminishing through the years, younger generations don't have the understanding of self that the older generations have had. We must help the younger generations to feel confident within themselves before using the medbed. Younger generations need guidance. Developing self-awareness and confidence before using the medbeds will ensure they benefit fully from the technology. For those with various infusions regarding DNA, such as, and we've talked a little bit about this on this podcast, super soldiers. So for those with various infusions regarding DNA, such as super soldiers, more information will be made available later regarding medbed healing. Additional information will be provided for special cases to understand how medbeds can help them. In closing, as our world heals and people begin to learn the power within them to heal through ascension, this technology may not be even needed universally. Many will become crystalline beings. As people harness their inner healing power through ascension, the universal need for medbeds may go down. It has a section here as far as what to continue doing. Just continue doing what you've been doing until all of these roll out. For instance, if you're on medications, obviously continue them. If you're under the care of a doctor, continue it. This is coming. It's just not here yet. So it has a whole section on that. And then the final paragraph is medbeds represent a potential revolution in healing, combining advanced quantum technology with holistic health principles. While their existence and efficacy are still under debate, the promise they hold is undeniable. As we wait for more concrete evidence and wider availability, it's crucial to maintain an open mind and continue our current health practices, whatever they are. For me, a lot of nutrition and supplementation and so forth is what I've done my whole life. I'm not going to stop that until such time as I know I don't need it anymore. The future of medbeds could transform not only our physical health, but also our spiritual well-being, ushering in a whole new era of holistic healing. I will just add in what it was always meant to be, or what God created it to be. So that is a lot. And again, it takes a lot of open-mindedness, and more than anything, just hope. Just hope. But for me to end on that, I will say this, and I quote it quite often, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Everything I just talked about in this article is about hope and a future and a better life and a healthy life, even living longer. I mean, we don't want to live longer in the sense that all we've ever known growing old to be is sicker and painful, less healthy and more painful. We can't even imagine a life different than that, because it's all we've ever known or knew of. I did a lot of public speaking at natural health seminars that I put on through the years, preventative and natural health. And a question I would ask every audience when I began was, how many of you would like to live to be 100? And whether there was 100 in the room, 1,000 in the room, or 10 people in the room, generally only 10 or 20% would raise their hands when I said, how many of you would like to live to be 100? But then I said, let me ask you another question. If you could live to be 100 and not be a burden on others, and be healthy and feel good and have no pain, how many of you would like to live to 100? And everyone's hand went up except the real negative ones that had their arms crossed like this and didn't want to be there to begin with. But every other hand went up. And that's what this represents to us, that we can be those people that would say, yeah, if what this is saying is true, heck yeah, I'll take 100, I'll take 200, in generations to come, I'll take 300 or 400 for my kids, because they'll feel good and they'll have a great life, and it'll be a quality life. And God promised that. He told us His plans for us, to prosper us and not harm us. Prosper us isn't just financial, guys. It's physical. To prosper us and not harm us, to give us hope in a future. So that concludes the medbed segment, and I'm going to go immediately into part 11 of the sequel to the Fall of the Cabal. And part 11 is further exposure of Bill Gates and some of the most polluting organizations and places and things that he did in the world. So it was so important that Janet Ossebaard, about Bill Gates, we've all heard little thises and that's about Bill Gates, and we know he's definitely in this war of good versus evil, on the evil side, of course. But it's so important to know what all the things he had his hands in. I believe he's been dealt with. That's what I believe. I believe who we're seeing is a 2.0 or a 3.0. I've showed pictures and side-by-sides and before and afters of him and Melinda Gates through the years doing these podcasts. Definitely not possible they're the same person. So I believe he's been dealt with, but it's still very important that we know what he did and how he did it to avoid having anything like this happen again. So with that, I'm going to begin this. It's 27 minutes. It's 27 minutes and 30 seconds. So for those that can stay up and stay awake, we'll be with you for another 27 minutes of this video, and then we will close in prayer as we always do. And if you're able, please do stay to pray in agreement. Before I go to the video, I just want to see if there were any other comments that came in while I was in the other segments. And I'll read this later, Chris. Chris talked about the daylight savings time and stuff, so thank you for that. And maybe I'll have a personal conversation with you too. And Claudia said, "Yep," on one of she up to something. So anyway, that was it. I just wanted to make sure I covered all the comments. So I'm going to turn the phone around, and I'll be back, and we'll be praying together at the conclusion of this video. So here we go. By following the money trails of Bill Gates, we discovered not only where his tentacles of power are spread in all of his society, but also where his money does not go to. It made us wonder what philanthropy is all about.
Bill Gates and his investments. By following the money, one gets to know a person. If I were to accept someone's advice, for instance in the area of vaccines, I would follow that person's money to see where he comes from. Does he have my best interests at heart? What does following the money tell us about Bill Gates? He has an interest in highly suspicious companies, a tendency to be drawn towards poison, and an absolute focus on depopulation.
First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Let's face it, a man who openly promotes reducing the world population in order to save the planet, telling the world vaccines can help achieve this goal, then promotes the same vaccines to save lives? Really? Make up your mind, Bill. Do you want to save human lives, or do you want to destroy them? You can't have it both ways. Follow the money, and you will get to know the man behind it. We have seen GMOs, infected mosquitoes, tests on human guinea pigs in less developed countries, bioweapons, child trafficking and abuse on Epstein Island. Not a pretty picture, Bill. What else are you up to, The more we dove into the person Bill Gates, the more we were shocked and nauseated. Here are some more companies in which he heavily invested. They include many of the most criticized companies in the world for involvement in human rights abuses, labor abuses, environmental abuses, and tax avoidance. Big mining companies: Barrick Gold, BHP Billiton, Freeport McMoran, Glencore, Rio Tinto, Vedanta, and Vale, a Brazilian mining company that was voted with most contempt for the environment and human rights in the Public Eye Annual Awards. Agribusiness companies: Nestle, Unilever, Archer Daniels Midland, Kraft, Mondelez International, chemical and pharmaceutical corporations, some of which we already mentioned. BASF, Dow Chemicals, GlaxoSmithKline, Novartis, and Pfizer. Beverage corporations: Coca-Cola, Diageo, PepsiCo, and SAB Miller. Construction companies: Caterpillar, which has long been accused of complicity in human rights abuses in the Palestinian-occupied territories. Defence contractors: BAE Systems, the UK's largest defence contractor and arms exporter. Excuse me? Arms? As in weapons? Bill? And we already briefly mentioned his oil-based fertilizers. Well, guess what? The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation Trust has a financial stake of $1.4 billion in fossil fuel companies such as BP and Anadarko Petroleum that was recently forced to pay a $5 billion environmental cleanup charge. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation Trust has investments in 35 of the top 200 companies ranked by the carbon held in their reserves. These included coal giants Anglo American, BHP Billiton, Glencore Xstrata, and Peabody Energy, and the oil majors Shell, ConocoPhillips, Chevron, Total, and Petrobras. What about the human carbon footprint, Bill? Which part of sustainability don't you understand? Or does it only concern others, like the people, who subsequently have to pay new taxes, more taxes, anything to squeeze the life force out of them just a little bit more, while you enjoy your jet-set lifestyle on your yacht and your private plane? You know, Bill, you can try to fool us with your posture and your terrible choice of clothes and hair, but we see straight through you. Some people may still believe that you're a kind nerd, giving money away to charity, but more and more people see through you. Once you burst that nerdy bubble of yours, all that is left is a Rockefeller descendant who plays his puppet role in the Depopulation Agenda 21 and 2030. No body language with excessive hand gestures and nerdy glasses sticks. No fake smiles can ever fool those who are awake. And the number of awake people grows by the minute. Now, in case you think you know all there is to know about Mr. Gates, he comes up with yet another marvel of a plan to spray millions of tons of dust into the stratosphere to stop global warming. I mean, seriously? Millions of tons of chalk are to be sprinkled up there to create a world-enveloping cloud that reflects sunlight away from us. A cloud to basically cause a worldwide solar eclipse for indefinite time. This insane plan is funded by Gates and pioneered by scientists at Harvard University. Even they admit, I hope we don't need it, It's a very scary technology. It's quite terrifying. But the world with severe climate change impacts can also be very scary. My, that's one hell of a slogan. The initial test that was supposed to take place over New Mexico is currently on hold, amid fears that it could trigger a disastrous series of chain reactions, creating climate havoc in the form of serious droughts and hurricanes, and bring death to millions of people around the world. One fear is that spreading dust into the stratosphere may damage the ozone layer that protects us from hazardous ultraviolet radiation that causes cancer. Climatologists are also concerned that the circulation of ocean currents that regulate our weather may be disrupted. This could unleash a global outbreak of events that might devastate farmland, wipe out entire species, and foster disease epidemics. I don't know what's worse, climate change or this plan. Obviously, Bill Gates is more interested in his technological experiments than in the safety of people. Oh, I almost forgot. He's into depopulating the planet. Well, what a marvelous side effect then, right, Bill? There's a few more things about Mr. Charity that we think you should know. In 2000, he set up Gavi, Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization, now called Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance. Not just that, he sponsored Gavi with no less than $4.44 billion. In addition, he pledged another $1.6 billion for 2021 to 25. Gavi has the power to decide the price for vaccines, which is always way too high according to critics, such as Doctors Without Borders. Like we heard Gates say in the previous episode, he has a 20-to-1 return on investment when it comes to vaccines. He makes astronomical profits in times of need. What a guy. On the board of Gavi are 4 permanent positions filled with representatives from the WHO, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, UNICEF, and the World Bank. In 2018, Gavi donated $388 million to the WHO. Gates owns the Vaccine Alliance, just like he owns the WHO. He is everywhere. He decides what happens within Gavi and which decisions are made. When Gates wants a global lockdown, there will be a global lockdown. If he wants a digital certificate to prove immunity, there will be a digital certificate to prove immunity. Mandatory. If he wants the entire world to be vaccinated, the entire world will be vaccinated. Mandatory. He is way more powerful than our presidents. Make no mistake. Is it Gates himself who is so powerful? Simply because he's a Rockefeller descendant? Or is he just a puppet on one of Warren Buffett's strings? Who knows? And does it really matter? What matters at this stage is that this evil empire is exposed to the world. Once the people know whom they're dealing with, do you think they'll still want their precious vaccine? In April 2020, President Trump announced stopping the financing of the WHO. Instead, he gave the money to Gavi. Many people were shocked by this action. How could he sponsor Big Pharma? Trump has always been openly opposed against the pharmaceutical industry. Did he try to gain influence in Gavi to temper Gates? Time will tell. The last thing we wish to share with you, before hitting the final nail into Gates' coffin, concerns the influence of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in global agriculture. A study performed by Green, published in November 2014, shows the shocking truth about the influence of the Gates Foundation in agriculture around the world. Do you still believe Mr. Gates is doing good in Africa? Do you know how much of his millions in grants for agriculture actually go to Africa? A lousy 5%. Do you know where all the money ends up? With the CJIAR. International organizations such as the World Bank, UN agencies, etc. AGRA, the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, set up by Gates himself. The African Agricultural Technology Foundation, the AATF, and hundreds of different research, development and policy organizations across the world. In Gates' world, it's all about R&D and policy. His money does not go to the African farmers. It goes to scientists, to laboratories. Gates' tools, AGRA and the AATF, make sure that the technologies that come rolling out of the labs get into the fields of the African farmers without them having a say in it. Not only that, as if it weren't bad enough, Gates' money for agriculture does not go to Africa where it's badly needed. No, Gates wouldn't be Gates if he didn't favour the rich countries. By far the main recipient country is the US, followed by the UK, Germany and the Netherlands. So, the Gates Foundation fights hunger in the South by giving money to the North. How the hell is that going to work? AGRA. When we hear Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, we think irrigation projects, clean water, green fields. Forget it. AGRA's and Gates' promise to double productivity and incomes by 2020 for 30 million small-scale farming households, while reducing food insecurity by half in 20 countries, has failed miserably. Why? Because that was never the aim. 15 years after Gates set up AGRA together with the Rockefeller Foundation, the only one who has been reaping the benefits is Gates himself. The number of Africans suffering extreme hunger has increased by 30% to 131 million people in the 13 countries AGRA focuses on. The African biodiversity has been replaced by monoculture, mostly corn, and farmers who failed to switch to corn were fined by their governments. Crop diversity has been sacrificed in the name of technological advance. As a result, farmers have become more and more dependent on help from AGRA and their government to survive. Monocropping and the disappearance of nutrient crops such as agave and sweet potatoes have made the farmers most vulnerable to climate change and droughts. It has ruined their diet diversity and it has exhausted their land. AGRA's money went to African governments, which in turn gave subsidies to the farmers if they did exactly what AGRA and thus Bill Gates told them to do. Buy high-tech seeds and chemicals sold by US corporations, in which Gates has shares. The seeds are expensive hybrid seeds that the farmers have to buy each and every year. The chemicals are fossil fuel-based petrochemical fertilizers. What happened to Gates' big mouth about sustainability and saving the planet? The fertilizers are very expensive. Most farmers don't sell enough corn to earn those expenses back. One bad harvest, and they are all left with debts and despair. Monsanto and the other multinational seed companies are all there, benefiting from sales they would never have had without subsidies. Seed and fertilizer companies are the clear winners from these policies. By pushing his beloved technology down the throats of African farmers, Gates didn't exactly help them. He abused them and drove many to suicide. How hard is it to use your money to do truly good by listening to the people's needs for a change? How hard is it to treat them as intelligent and experienced fellow men instead of a bunch of retards who don't know what's good for them? How denigrating is that? Why aim for 80% of the population being vaccinated when everybody knows that diseases are spread by bad hygiene and polluted water? Why not simply provide clean water and proper hygiene? That would have been so much more effective and it wouldn't have cost so much money. Before we move on, let's redefine philanthropy once and for all, shall we? Robert Newman said it so well in an article in 2012. Philanthropy is the enemy of justice. The point is that poor people do not tend to ask for charity. They demand justice, which requires not so much money from the rich world as fundamental changes in the way the rich world operates, including ending tax havens, limiting the power of corporations, and changing neoliberal economics. Philanthropy is not pushing your agenda down other people's throats. It is not giving funds, means or material to people who didn't ask for it. It is not overruling other people's way of life simply because you believe that your way of life is superior. Philanthropy is not making investments in order to make more money for yourself. Philanthropy is the opposite of what is described in Agenda 21 and 2030. It is not helping dictators stay in command so they can continue to control and suppress their people, to wage war upon them, to have their precious minerals stolen, and to keep them hungry and terrified. Philanthropy is not stealing other people's children and selling them as sex slaves. What is philanthropy? It is helping your fellow man. It is sharing simply because you care. It is giving to the poor, but only if they ask for it, and only in a way that is truly helpful and respectful for them, not for you. Philanthropy is giving, sharing from an unconditional starting point, not because you want something in return. Philanthropy comes from the heart, not from reason nor technology. It is giving, sharing, because you truly want to make this world a better place. Bill Gates has other priorities than doing good. He has spread his tentacles of power into every corner of the world. Do you think you've seen it all? Well, let me be quiet for a while so you can fully grasp the extent to which Gates is indeed omnipresent.
Did you know that Bill Gates is America's biggest farmland owner? 242,000 acres of farmland, making him the biggest private owner. Did you know that Bill Gates wants us to eat fake meat? Bill Gates wants rich countries to move to 100% synthetic beef. Synthetic biology. Did you know that Bill Gates is taking over nuclear energy? U.S. has lost its global leadership in nuclear power. TerraPower, chairman of the board, Bill Gates. Why Bill Gates thinks nuclear energy is the future. Did you know that Bill Gates now predicts climate disaster? We're on a path to climate disaster, but he has a plan to avoid it. Are you ready for the next pandemic? How to avoid a climate disaster. Did you know that Bill Gates and DARPA are developing genetic extinction technologies? Funder of gene drives, Gates Foundation paid $1.6 million to influence the UN. Part of your DNA and terminal human gene editing. Did you know that Bill Gates helped sell your DNA data to communist China? Genomics was caught. Bill Gates funded Chinese DNA harvesting tech. Linked to Chinese company about mining America's data. Did you know Bill Gates spends millions on bribes? Sabotaging rivals and imposing policy on sovereign nations. $10 million bribe on forced vaccination. Did you know that Bill Gates doesn't like being obstructed? President of Burundi. He ordered the explosion of the organization's expert team backing the country's response to the coronavirus pandemic just days before the country's elections. They are expelled, and the health minister has totally excluded the WHO, accusing it of unacceptable interference. The largest landlocked country of some 11 million officially recorded 27 cases and 1 death from coronavirus has taken few precautions. Huge political rallies have been held across the country, drawing tens of thousands of supporters and mass gatherings that have been banned in other parts of Africa and around the world. Officials in Burundi have cited divine protection for the country's low infection rate and urged citizens to go about their daily lives without fear. The Burundi president died suddenly on June 8th of 2020. President of Tanzania, John Magufuli. We need to be careful because of some of these donations to fight coronavirus could be used to transmit the virus. I want to urge Tanzanians not to accept donations en masse. Coronavirus, which is a devil, cannot survive in the body of Christ. It will burn instantly. We have had a number of viral diseases, including AIDS and measles. Life must go on. Countries in Africa will be coming here to buy food in years to come. They will be suffering because of shutting down their economy. He questioned the efficacy of COVID tests in May, the last time the country published data on coronavirus cases and deaths. And after sending various animals and fruit to be checked for the virus, he said a papaya, a quail, and a goat had all tested positive. So many times I have insisted that not everything that you are given is good. There could be people being used, that equipment could be used, but it could also be sabotaged because this is warfare. The Ministry of Health should be careful. They should not hurry to try these vaccines without doing research. Not every vaccine is important to us. We should be careful. We should not be used as guinea pigs. Vaccines are dangerous. If the white man was able to come up with vaccinations, he should have found a vaccination for AIDS and cancer and TB by now. On February 27th, Magufuli was declared missing. 2 weeks later, he was officially declared dead. At first, he was said to have died from COVID-19. This was later changed. He died on March 17, 2021.
Do you see the whole picture yet? Bill Gates controls the air you breathe, the food you eat, the water you drink, the healthcare you get. He controls your life from the cradle to the grave. Do you wish to see the final nail in his coffin? Then let's move along to part 12.
This guy redefines evil. Well, we need to know about it. We need to learn about it. The only way to avoid things happening like this in the future is to be aware of it and teach others. And keep preaching the truth. Keep teaching the truth. That's what we do. A comment came in from Carolyn, by the way. Welcome, Carolyn, from South Bend here in Indiana. She said, med beds, wow. Yeah, it was a lot, for sure. And my husband also chimed in and said he'd been listening, so glad you were able to be listening, Daniel. And I wanted to touch on something that she said, and it's regarding President Trump. We've talked about this many, many, many times. But she made point of saying that some money was redirected from the WHO, taken away from the WHO, and that Trump was going to shut down the WHO or whatever. We know the history. We have that luxury right now where she didn't when she made this video. And she said, you know, why did he give this money to this company that Gates was affiliated with called Gavi, I think it was called. And so again, if this was made in 2021, which I believe that's when these were published, these videos, it was still all ongoing at that time. But we know since then what President Trump did, what he said, what he recommended. We know about Operation Warp Speed. I've covered those topics multiple times on this podcast. We know now that Operation Warp Speed literally would have saved millions and millions of lives, because the toxic, deadly vaccines, the deep state only had enough for a small percentage of the population, because they wanted to lock us down for over 10 years. They were saying it'll take 10 years to make a vaccine, and we have to keep you locked down so you don't spread it. You know, you can't be around anybody. You know what the fear tactics were at the time. And President Trump said, no, we can get a vaccine done in record time, and it was something like 9 months or whatever, and we can open back up the country. We can open businesses back up. We can get people working again. We can get kids back to school again, and that's exactly what he did. If the deep state would have stayed in control, they would have kept all of us locked down and schools closed and churches closed for that 10 years that they said it would take to get that vaccine, because what they were teaching and pumping, the propaganda and the lies, was that it would take 10 years to get a vaccine, and the vaccine is the only thing that will save lives. So we have to all stay locked down. The vaccines that President Trump put together, the hard thing for a lot of people to accept, and the only way to do that is to know, if you're knowledgeable enough to know now what these vaccines have done to your family and friends, and you know some of your family and friends have been affected adversely with adverse effects and or worse, death, then, and if you firmly believe, as I do and many do, that those were the cause, but yet not all of your friends died, and not all of your family died, and not all of your friends had adverse effects, and not all of your family had adverse effects. The reason for that was Operation Warp Speed, because those, quote, vaccines that were put out by President Trump so that the world could, that this country could open up again, so that businesses could open up again, the schools and churches could open up again, and so forth, and we wouldn't be locked down for 10 years. They were saline. So the vast majority of vaccines that went out there were saline. They were safe. They were not harmful. And that is why, and again, use your common sense meter, okay? You know, like this, or it really makes sense, or it doesn't make sense. You have to think your way through this. But if all the vaccines were bad, then all of your friends would have died, and all of your family and friends would have had adverse effects, adverse health things. And we all know, at least I do, and those that I talk to know, that there are some we know that have not had adverse effects and have not, by the grace of God, passed away in this time frame of now 5 to 6 years since these came out. And that is because President Trump put Operation Warp Speed into effect. And the deep state's plan failed. We would still be locked down today if it would have been left up to them, and God had not intervened and put President Trump in control at that time of this nation. So when Janet Ossebaard said, you know, like, why would President Trump do this? You know, well, time will tell. Time has told us. and we do know. Unfortunately, many don't, because they still believe all of the propaganda and all of the lies, and they suffer with extreme cases of TDS. But for those that do watch this podcast, at the very least, and other podcasters who are honest and doing the right thing out there, they are also telling the truth as well. So I just wanted to clarify that for those maybe that are new or that are watching and maybe had not seen one of my podcasts before or other podcasts that talked about Operation Warp Speed and why, again, common sense wise, if they were all toxic, if they were all bad, then all and everybody would have been affected the same. They weren't, because of Operation Warp Speed and President Trump and these vaccines that were saline. All right, so my voice is about like weird going because a lot of things I shared tonight that used my voice. So we're going to pray. We're going to end this podcast and end this week with the same prayer that we end every podcast with, and that is from the Q Military Intelligence Operation. It was published back in 2020 on September 20th, and it is a prayer that they knew we would need for the duration of this war that we're in, of good versus evil, and the spiritual warfare we would be under. And the only way to get through it was to seek God, seek His Word, claim authority over the evil, use the weapons of warfare that He has equipped us with. And this prayer, again, if you look for it and you went to the Q Drop 4739, this beautiful prayer that we pray every podcast at the end, and we will follow it with the Lord's Prayer. So please pray in agreement with me. Strengthen our faith, Lord. Forgive us our sins so that we may be clean in your righteousness. Make us brave so we can stand and fight the spiritual battles that are in our lives and in our world. Give us your wisdom and discernment, Lord, so we won't be caught off guard. Together, Lord, we win, because in truth, you already have. While evil still roams, we use the power of your name and your blood to rise up in victory against every evil planned against us. While malicious actions may disturb us, we use the armor of God that you have given us and equipped us with, so we can stand firm. You will bring justice in due time for all of the harm and needless violence aimed at your children. But until then, we remain in your presence, aligned with your purposes, Lord, and we look to you as our supreme commander and protector. Help us to avoid temptation and deliver us from evil. Lord, you are the mighty one. You are the one who will ultimately bring all evil to light. With you, Jesus, we are safe. Our Father who art in heaven, holy be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Thank you, Lord. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. And thank you for delivering this world from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. And all the people said, amen. So that'll do it for another Seeking Truth Always in the books for this Friday evening, the 7th of August. I look forward to being with you next week. Wish for each and every one of you a wonderful weekend, whatever that holds for you. And we'll be back at it and continuing our seeking of truth always next week. With that, I'll say this is Nancy. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for seeking truth always with me. I'll say God bless you. I look forward to seeing you next time. And bye for now.